Good evening, namaskar, and welcome to all of you to this talk tonight on Make This Day a Friend. It's a wonderful topic, and I'd like to start with just a moment of prayer. Please pray with me. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, great masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswarji, beloved Guru, Paramahansa Yogananda Ji, saints of all religions, we lay the flowers of our devotion gently at thy feet. Bless us as we attune ourselves to thy consciousness, to thy light, to thy joy, through these sacred tools and techniques. We are thine, be thou eternally ours. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Swami Kriyananda Ji wrote a beautiful song, All the World is My Friend. And as we think of our life as yogis, as devotees, as disciples, we've been given from the very, very, very good karma that Master said we have, even to want to know God, want to be on the path. We've been given such a beautiful life. And as I thought about this just before the class this evening, I thought about all the wonderful friends that we have on the spiritual path, Guru Bhais, that are there to make our days beautiful, all the wonderful spiritual books that we have, the beautiful pieces of music that Swamiji wrote, 400 of them and 150 books, and Master's books and writings, of course. And I thought of all the tools and the techniques that we have, the beautiful places like here, the ashram, or the centers that are all around India, really all around the world, communities where we can live together. We've been given a beautiful life, and if we can attune to that life through our practices, through devotion, through our techniques, then we will feel that every day we can treat as a friend. I remember one time I was feeling a little bit alone, and there's so many duties and responsibilities, and I was down in our temple here, and Naya Swami's Jyotish and Devi were visiting, and I was down there praying and meditating, and I just, for just a short moment, I just felt there were so many things to do, and I thought, oh gosh, I'm just alone here. And then I could inwardly feel Master saying, no, you're not alone, we're with you. And that's the beauty of the path, that we're not alone. And I felt somebody behind me, and I just turned around, because I had earplugs in, so I didn't hear anyone coming or going. And I turned around, and Nai Swami Devi was sitting there meditating as well. And I just felt Divine Mother saying, she's your friend. I've sent her to be there with you, for you, to support you. And it just made me so aware of God's presence when we open ourselves to the divine. Another very beautiful incident happened this way for me. When I was here, I've been here 11 years now in India, over 11 years, and early on I came, I didn't know anybody here really, and I remember at one point I wanted to go on just 2 or 3 days for just a little break, a little vacation. And I thought about it, and I said, no, I don't have anybody to go with. And then I would look online, and I'd see, the places I could go, and then I would think, well, but I'll be alone. And then a new place, well, I'm not going because I'll be alone. And then I closed the computer. I said, I'm not going to go. And really, the next day, a friend from America, Karpani, Nancy Raquel, for those who might know her, she called or wrote, I can't remember which, it was so many years back, 7, 8 years ago, and she said, I was just thinking of you, and I want to come over to India, and I thought you could use a little break, a little vacation. Would you like to go with me? And it just shows you the sweetness of if you open yourself to everything, the grace of God, the blessings of God, the joy, the love, in every day, there's so many miracles, we can call them miracles, but so many times that Divine Mother shows her hand, that the Masters show that they're with us, that they're guiding us, that they're blessing us, that they're protecting us. And so our life needs to be in attunement with them. And as we attune to them, then every day becomes a special day for us, and we can make every day like a friend. And I remember once, some years back here at Ananda Gargan, we were wanting to make a CD, and we have made 2, maybe even 3 CDs. They're very beautiful. But the first one we made, it takes a lot of energy and focus and a lot more, good singing and good instruments to make a good CD. So we were just, wanting to just share the music and not really that concerned about, how, we didn't know how to make a CD, but so we went to a studio and we sang our hearts out. I mean, there were, I think, 20 of us, and so it was really for me, one of the most beautiful days of my time in India, singing Swamiji's and Master's chants all day long, all of us. And so afterwards, we thought, oh, it's going to be a beautiful CD. And then when I talked to the engineer who was the main person behind it, he said, well, there were just 2 problems that you had. That one was you all were out of tune, and the second is you were off beat. And I said, well, what else is there? You're out of tune and off beat. And this is how most people live their life. They're not in tune with God, in tune with the universe, in tune with the higher realities. And yoga gives us the opportunity to do that. I was listening today to some beautiful pieces of music of some of Mozart, and it was just so uplifting. And I just thought, why is this so uplifting? It's just so beautiful. Because every note was precisely in tune. Every note, there was nothing that was out of tune. And also I have some recordings of Zakir Hussain, and I mean, his tabla playing is just out of this world. But my goodness, every beat is just right on, right on, right on. And this is how our life needs to become, that we're in tune, and every beat is just in tune with God. Of course, same with Ravi Shankar. I love to hear good music this way because it's just so well played. And when I, years back, well actually not that far back, I played the cello in the Ananda Orchestra. I love music, so I had played since I was in the 4th standard, 4th grade. And so Ananda started an orchestra, so I got in the orchestra. And I played pretty well, but other people played much better, but I loved playing. And it reminded me that I also had played the violin, before the cello. And I played the violin from when I was younger. And if you don't play the violin well, it just sounds terrible. It's so screechy and scratchy, but we didn't have money for me to own a violin, but I rented one, so I'd bring it home every day, and my family would see me and they'd go, oh no, she's got the violin, because it just didn't sound good. But I give this example because our life, if it's not in attunement, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work out properly. And so we're looking to how, of course, same with the choir. If you're not singing properly, it doesn't sound good. So we're trying to put our life, the yogi is trying to put every day in attunement with God, with joy, with light, with higher realities, with high consciousness, with inspiration, with insights, with their intuition. They're trying to put their life in attunement with the gurus, with Babaji, with Master, and ultimately they're putting their life in tune with God. And so with yoga, that attunement in yoga means that I have the right attitudes, I have the right energy, I have the right, I'm willing, I'm open, I'm receptive to the day, to what God is bringing me in this moment, in this day. And I remember, it's all in the way you get up in the morning has a whole lot to do with your day. And when I first lived at Ananda Village, I went as an apprentice, meaning I didn't move in, I went for some months working, serving there. And so I lived in a little, just a little, like a bungalow place, but very small, with another girl, and cabin, you would call it there. And so I was on one bunk and she was on the other bunk, and I think I must have been 21 years old or something, or 22, and I mean, going to a yoga community was a big thing. And then, I mean, the time you had to get up and all the seva and the energization and meditating long hours and all that, it was just very new for me. But in the morning, they would ring a gong, and you know, it must have been like 5 o'clock. It was an hour I had never gotten up before. So they would boom, boom, ring the gong, and I remember the girl who was, she was on the top bunk, I think, and every day that when they would ring the gong, she would just say, I just hate getting up. I hate it. Don't you hate it? I thought I didn't want to get up, but I didn't hate it. I mean, why would you start your day with, I hate getting up? I mean, it's such a negative affirmation. And soon she left because she hated getting up. And so, and I remember someone else at another ashram, Ananda Ashram in San Francisco, we would get up early and go down and meditate. And, you know, it's such a joy to live with devotees, because you're with peers, and everybody's striving to do better, striving to get to the sadhana, striving to stay awake in the sadhana, you know, striving to serve and everything. And so anyway, at San Francisco House, we would wake up, and I would help people, you know, to wake up. I'd go to the rooms, chanting and all, and you know, most people would get up, and there were several of us. It was 5 stories, and so there was somebody on every floor, and I mean, we just saw it was fun. But I remember someone once threw a shoe at the door and just said, don't bother me, I just don't want to get up. And I just thought, oh, this is it's such a sad attitude. I mean, you just wake up like that. I mean, just, your whole day is does not go well. And so when yoga, we teach people to cooperate with higher realities, cooperate with positivity, cooperate with upliftedness, cooperate with inspiration, cooperate with high energy, to say, I'm awake and ready, and try to put your best foot forward, so to speak. Or, you know, we know people who are grumpy. We say they got out of the bed on the wrong side. Well, the yogi gets out of bed on the right side, meaning that first thing in the morning, you try to think of God. You don't think, I hate this, I don't want this, I'm mad about this, or, you know. And really, I think that comes from the late night television watching, or the late night going on the internet and watching the news, maybe, or eating heavy late. I mean, people growl in the morning, and then your whole day is out of whack. So better than having that attitude, or also better than waking up, getting the newspaper right away, or, you know, some people, and I'm, you know, at the ashram, we don't even have a television, but I think some people, I hope it's none of you, but some people, they just lie in the bed and turn on the television. They don't even get up. They're just there, you know, with the remote. And, or just turn the computer on first thing. So this isn't the way to make the day your friend. The way to do that is to get up with joy, get up with light, get up with enthusiasm. I remember someone told me that this was a yogi, I mean a person who was on the path, but this happened some years back. But they said, I was so shocked, they said that they had gone to someone's home, a relative's home, and they were spending some time there, and you know, there was a big television, and that, you know, first they kept their sadhana strong, you know, they were up early and they were meditating for hours, and you know, and then they said, you know, that as Master said environment's stronger than willpower. Their willpower started to get weaker and weaker and weaker, and then one day they just said, I'll meditate later, and so they saw the big television there, so they went and sat in front of the television. I was so shocked. They said they sat and they sat and they sat and they sat for 12 hours. My goodness, they sat for 12 hours. They spent the whole day there. And they said they finished off the last hour with a pint of Haagen-Dazs ice cream. So their energy was completely sapped. And so the first thing you want to do is get up and get going. Get the energy moving. Do some stretches. And if you wake up with the thought of God, you can sit there or lie in bed, and I tell people, do the 20-part body recharging in the bed, lying down. Just turn on your back if you can't quite get up yet, and inhale, tense your whole body and vibrate, and exhale. Do that as many times as it takes for you to get the energy flowing and to get up. You can sit there or lie there and just call the name of God. First, isn't it beautiful? First thing in the morning, just think, I love you, God. I love you, Master. I love you, Babaji. Om Guru, Om Babaji. The first thought in the morning just should be of God. And I want you, and I'm here for you. And this day I offer to you mental chanting. And then also I've told people, it's sometimes hard to get up, especially in winter, but winter's sort of going away now, that if you can't do it, just sit up on the bed for a few minutes and just sit up and meditate for a minute or two, just to you need a transition instead of just, oh my God, I gotta get up, Just sit and just feel the presence of God for 1 or 2 minutes and then get up. And also for people who can't get up with joy, I said one good thing, and I've tried this myself, and in my mind I'll have it. Now, I've been getting up early for so many years, it doesn't bother me. But if you can sit up first, sit up and then get up. Sit up and just sit for a moment, your energy, bring it up to here, and then get up. And you'll find that it's just easier. Swamiji gave a really good way of getting up. He said, put your alarm clock on the other side of the room and then set it for a particular time. And then when that goes off, either you're going to let it ring and ring and ring, or you're going to get up and turn that off. And so find a way that you can be fresh in the morning. And then once you get out of bed, you take your bath or whatever, then do some energization, even if you don't do the full set right away, but get the energy moving in the body. As soon as the energy moves, you feel awake and ready. You're energized, you're magnetic, you're up. Your consciousness is here instead of down. And so do a few energization, do some stretches, some yoga. I find if I can just do halasana and do the shoulder stand, a couple of other ones, I just feel, I'm up, I'm ready to go for the day. And then afterwards, these are steps into bringing good high consciousness into your day. Afterwards, meditate. And I don't know, what do people do who don't meditate? What kind of life can you have? And even if you miss one day, you feel out of sorts, and you miss one day of energization. I remember one day I was traveling, and I remembered by the end of the day, I just felt kind of groggy all day, and I realized I had missed my energization. I said, oh my God, I can't miss that. So I did it right away. But if you continue with the practices properly, you just feel more and more fresh, more and more alive, more and more happy. It's like money in the bank. Every day you're putting more light there, you're putting more peace, you're putting energy, you're putting magnetism, and then it's easier to carry that with you all the time. After the meditation, why not do a walking meditation instead of right away, now you get on the phone, I'm up, it's not natural. These things aren't natural. I hope you don't think they are, just immediately on the computer and, all this. Is Swamiji told us a beautiful thing. He said, be with God. Take a walking meditation. He was just out in your garden. Take time, to look at the flowers, to smell the fragrance of the flowers, to look at the beautiful trees, to listen to the birds. And, people have lost contact with nature. One Ayurvedic doctor, he said to me, walk barefoot on the grass. He said people always have shoes on. He said just connect with earth, connect with nature. And so walking meditation means you're not walking with somebody talking. You don't have on earplugs and you're listening to music or whatever. You're just observing, you're feeling the breeze, you're feeling the sun on your skin, you're looking at the plants and the flowers, and you're inwardly communing with God. Such a beautiful practice. And then afterwards, I would suggest try to have your breakfast in silence, to immediately jump into a business mode. And I've seen people, they're eating and it just isn't natural. I mean, and they wonder why they're nervous all day. A good rule of thumb, and here again, Ayurveda says, try to eat your breakfast quietly or alone, in silence. And I remember so many years, I still have breakfast in silence on my own here, but so many years at Ananda, whatever Ananda house we were in, breakfast was always in silence. And otherwise you come from the meditation, the walking meditation, you sit down and people just leap on you, I don't know, why do I do this, why do I do that? It's just not right. So have your quiet time. You're making the day special for yourself. So start it off right. And also I brought some books to show you. You can be reading these in the morning during the breakfast. Of course, Autobiography of a Yogi. I hope you're seeing these okay. And then sometimes I open any page from this book. I just want Master to tell me something for the day. And the path as well. Just open any page and see what the words are for you for that day. And of course, this is the Bhagavad Gita. And but take the time every day. In the beginning of the day, it's better. Read something that's uplifting and spiritually awakening, and take that thought into your day. Of course, the Living Wisely, Living Well book has beautiful thoughts every day, but take the time to read something that's uplifting that you take into your day. Now that was all beginning your day. Now I'd like to go into during the day. What can we do? I would take tools into your day. Don't just go out open, you don't know what's going to happen, you need to be clear and guided. And I would say the best thing is after you meditate, hang on, as Master said, to the after effects of the meditation as long as you possibly can. So as you're driving to work, or maybe you're not driving, maybe you have a driver, bring in the car some of the Ananda music or Master's words or talks of Swamiji's. Bring in the car. Have some picture of one of the gurus there with you. Have things with you when you go into the day. And if you meditate well, deeply enough, what you bring with you is wonderful. It's like a treasure chest. You bring with you peace of mind. You bring centeredness. You bring a mind that's clear instead of muffled. You bring concentration. You bring inspiration. You bring intuition. You bring magnetism. There are many things that you bring to your work. And as you bring those there, you realize that, so many times inspirations have come to me, and I knew they came because I was in tune with the higher reality. I knew they didn't come from my brain, in other words. I knew that they're thoughts, they're inspirations, they're just in the ether. Swami Kriyanandaji used to say that there's music that's floating everywhere in the ether, but you have to have your antenna up to catch it. And so the same with thoughts about your work, or how to do this, or inner guidance. How do I work with my children? What do I teach in the class? How do I do my yoga class? How do I, talk to my boss? These things come from inner attunement, and that comes from meditation. So when you go into your day, consciously take those with you. Instead of just going in kind of lazily and not subconsciously, go in consciously. Luther Burbank, I was thinking of him, he would have his eyes turned up. You can't go around your job like that, but he would go in his garden and he would just feel the plants, and he knew which plants would survive, which plants when Master dedicated Autobiography of a Yogi to him, an American saint. Same with George Washington Carver. He would go out in the mornings and he'd sensitively feel. I think people are losing feeling. I hate to say it, but it's true. He would feel what the plants, what were their secrets, what he could make from them. He came up with 300 usages of just one thing, from the peanut and peanut butter and various things that he made, soaps and shampoos, all from the peanut, because he just was in tune. And there's no reason not to have inspiration coming to you just like that. Insights, knowing how to do things, guidance, ideas. Remember being with Swamiji, it was just a joy to be with him when he had projects, because he'd sit, everyone would sit, and he'd want everybody's ideas and input, and the ideas would just be all over throughout the room. And I used to love those sessions. Anytime it's like, gee, I don't know what to do. I mean, there's something wrong with your attunement. And Rajarsi, Janakananda, he would go into his office, he'd meditate 5 hours before he'd even go in. Before he would do his work. Because he said, I couldn't do my work without this attunement to God. So, and what's so beautiful here at Ananda Gurgaon is, we start every meeting at Ananda Period, if you're at Ananda Center, with a prayer. And we start our meetings here. We meet every week, midweek. We start with the meditation. We meditate together. We tune in. Then we pray all together for all the projects, for all the devotees and everyone. And that's how we start our meeting. A meeting isn't just, what are you going to do? I'm going to do this. He's going to do that. I mean, where's the attunement? And so that attunement should come also in your work. And also, see what you're doing as a service, that you're helping people through IT services, or you're helping people through being a teacher, you're helping people through whatever it is, instead of it's a job. If you see yourself as a channel for light and blessings and grace to flow, anything you do can be, basically, anything you do for God is a blessing to all. Swamiji told a wonderful story of he and some of the monks, when he was early on at Mount Washington with Master, they were out at 29 Palms in the desert, and Master had them digging a hole. I think this is where they were. They were digging and digging, and I think it went on many, many hours. And I just love this story. It's in the Path. You can look it up. But he said, the New Path. He said, we were chanting. We were so happy to do it for Master. We were so joyful, all except for one person who, after 1 hour, sat down and said, I'm tired, and I didn't come here to dig a hole, and I don't want to do this. And he said after, I think it was like 16 or 18 hours, I mean, it was a long time. He said at the end of that, they were so filled with joy and energy. And I have to say, I saw this. I was just in Chennai. As some of you are watching, I greet you all. But I saw this in Chennai at the talk this weekend. Of course, I saw it here in Gurgaon when we had our talk with Nai Swamis Jyotish and Devi. Everybody who'd been serving and helping and preparing for weeks on end. And the looks on their faces, nobody said, oh, I'm exhausted. I just go home for bed, go to bed for 2 days. Everybody wasn't that wonderful? How wonderful to serve. And that's because the joy and the energy was flowing so strongly in them. And Swamiji said, you can do as much as you want if there's joy. If there's joy and energy and attunement, you'll never get tired. You can do twice as much, thrice as much, many times more than you could ever do if you're unwilling. And so go with the willing energy. Go with wanting to help people, wanting to serve. I remember several times I was at the airport. It happened this time too, and I went through, and you know, the people who are, you know, the security, this is a hard job, is checking people, you know, all day long. So I always, when I go in there, I always just say, hello, good morning, how are you? And they, you know, first thing, blah, blah, blah. And then and they could just see, it makes a difference. Just to say hello to somebody, you know, instead of, you know, just check me and I don't have anything and whatever. And 2 or 3 times, because I've gone in with energy and service, 2 or 3 times, I can remember it's 2 or 3, the people asked me, and this was as of a month or 2 ago, people asked me who I was, what I was doing, why I was in India. And when I explained to them, they said, I want to learn what you're doing. I want to learn how to meditate. I taught 1, 2 or 3 people how to meditate in the little cubicle where they check you. And so anything, you know, if you offer anything to God in your day, and I pray every day in the mornings, I pray, Guruji, help me to be in tune with what you want. Help me to meet the people that you want me to meet. Help me to have the inspiration, the high thoughts, the ideas. Help me to have the energy. Help me to have your energy. Help me to have your magnetism. Help me to have your guidance. You see the difference in, oh God, it's another day, and you know, just realize we've been given a beautiful life. What a wonderful life. What a wonderful life to be able to have a guru that's blessing us and helping others through us. And as you tune in, try to keep your consciousness here. This is a wonderful tool. Keep your consciousness uplifted. And most people's consciousness is not uplifted. It's either emotional in the heart or it's going down. And so the yogi always tries to, you know, as you look at people, look more into their spiritual eye. You know, you don't want to look strange, but what I'm saying is keep the energy uplifted. And also, were there things that you need to try to figure out? Look here at the spiritual eye, Master said. And you can, you know, before you go to work or after, I do it all the time. I just send a prayer out. What should I do? Who should I meet? Where should I go? Put the prayer clearly in your dilemma in your life. And then feel in the heart what's trying to happen here. And then take one step in that direction, and then take another step, and then take another step. The teachings have to be activated. This is what I've learned over the decades I've been at Ananda. Have to be activated. We have a tool chest. If you just it's just lying there, you never pull out any tool. You just meditate in the morning and say, well, I hope for the best during the day. Use them and work. Use the positive affirmation going through your mind. Use the pranayama at your desk if you can dare to, you know, or go outside. Do a few breathing exercises. Do the SCL, I'm awake and ready, I'm awake and ready. And be uplifted. And I remember just now when I came back from Chennai, I was coming out of the airport and I was looking for the Ola cab, but somehow I couldn't get it on my phone at that time, and I was by myself. And so I just was praying to Master, what should I do? I mean, there were these howling taxi drivers. You want a cab? You want a cab? I said, no. And so then I just looked around from where I was, and it said prepaid taxis. I said, thank God. I didn't know where it was. And so then I just walked over near the door, and a man opened the door, and he said, Madam, do you need a taxi? So I said, no, I'm looking for Ola. And he said, but this is prepaid. I said, are you sure? You know, I just don't trust. He said, yes. And all these people on the other side, they weren't in the office. They were at the window. Yeah, you know. And he said, Madam, please come in, and we'll help you right here. It was just the hand of Master. And, you know, I got a receipt. He gave me a guy, said, this man will take you to the car. And, I mean, this came because I just was in tune. How can you say? What can you say? I just was in tune, and I was praying. Master, guide me. It's a mundane thing, getting a taxi. It's not like I was sitting in meditation having a vision. I was looking for help. And so in everything that you do, utilize the tools. And finally, at the end of the day, so we went at how to start your day, end your day. Now at the end of the day, how do you end your day? I would say don't go home and plop onto the couch with the remote. I mean, people, I'm exhausted. You know, it's better to get some fresh air. Take a walk, do some exercises, go to your gym or go to the yoga class, or you need a bridge in your day. Walking is what I enjoy doing. I walk in the mornings and I walk in the evenings. And you know, if you walk vigorously at a certain point, you also work your heart and the circulation gets helped and your brain gets cleared out. And so don't plop down and just, you know, open the refrigerator and, you know, this is this is subconscious. We have to be conscious. The yogi wants to be conscious all the time. And so when you get home, do something to de-stress that's positive, that you know will help you. And then meditate, as you know, maybe it's not as long as the morning, but meditate or pray or whatever you would like to do for a sadhana in the evening, do yoga postures or something. And then after you have your meal, and I'm going to caution you here, and I know it's India and you may not be able to do this, but if you eat heavily at night, late night, you don't sleep well and you don't get up well. And your day typically is not so good. If you eat less, you'll have to figure out how to do that, but if you eat less at night and eat earlier, I know I'm throwing a lot at you, eat earlier and eat less, you sleep better. And Ayurveda tells you to, as at least 2 or 3 hours before you go to sleep, eat. So you don't want to eat a heavy, you know, you've got this whole dal and rice and there's chapati and there's sabzi and you've got everything and, you know, and then you're sleeping. It just doesn't work. So you'll have to work it out, but the less you can eat at night, the better rest. Your master said the heart is the most overworked organ, muscle in the whole body, pumping, he said 18 tons of blood a day. Now, I don't know how you measure that, but we know the heart is overworked. And so eat less, and then here again, go to bed with high thoughts. Honestly, I mean, I don't want to frighten you, but we may not wake up. So you want to go to bed with the thought of God. And Swamiji said to end the point between the eyebrows to anything that's bothering you, any delusions, any problems, any difficulties, to build a mental fire and just toss those things of the day into the mental fire, into the flames. I had this disagreement with my boss, and my child didn't obey me. You know, whatever it is, and just don't go to sleep with a heavy heart, so to speak. Don't just knock out on the pillow and really, I mean, I'm cautioning you here if you want to treat the day as a friend, that watch what you read before you go to sleep. I always read some spiritual quote, some spiritual book, something. Don't go to sleep on the news. I mean, you might have a nightmare, you might be sleepwalking, you know, anything can happen. But don't, Master said, go to sleep with the thought of God. Does that make sense? And he said you can, with your finger, you can draw Om, the symbol, the character Om, or A-U-M or O-M, on the pillow that you're going to put your head on. That's just a beautiful thought. But he's saying, go to sleep in Om. And he told Dr. Lewis, if you're in Om, nothing can touch you. And you can go to sleep. Try this tonight, just looking up at the spiritual eye, into the light. And Swamiji said something very interesting. He said, don't go to bed exhausted, because you wake up exhausted, and then your whole day you'll be exhausted. So sometimes I just stand by the bed. I'm also trying to get steps for my Fitbit, but sometimes I stand by the bed, and before I go to sleep, I'm just walking in place or running in place. And, you know, so I tried not to just go, oh God, I'm exhausted. Because then really, you don't sleep well, you don't get up well. So go to sleep with a higher consciousness, not just a heaviness and all of that. And you may just, close the ears as you lie down and just listen inside to the Om. It's such a wonderful way to go to sleep. And as you do these things, you'll find that every day becomes more and more sattvic, more and more happy. I find myself these days, I just feel so happy. And, to the point where I don't know why I'm so happy. I know it's from the years of dedication to Master and the path and Kriya, but I just feel so happy inside. And I look outside and I see so many people that were worried brow and their eyes are tense and I see young people and they're bent over and they're just like the life is beating them up. And I just think, I thank God that we have this path and that we have a way to go and we have the Guru's protection and that we can live in light, we can live in joy. Remember my mother came to Ananda years ago and maybe 3 decades ago and everybody she met, I said, Mom, this is one of my friends, such and such, Davy, or this is one of my friends, is whoever it was. And then, there was 250 people there. I really could almost call all of them my friends. And my mother, when she left there, and she felt so much peace. And then she said, and all of your friends. She said, if I had one friend like that, I would be so happy. And so we have the friends, and they're all in God. And I remember one time, Swamiji said to me, because I was there thanking him, and this was in India not that long ago, and I said, Swamiji, I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful for everything you've given and for our life and Kriya, and for thank you for helping me. And he was very clear. He said, Dhyana, Master's helping you. And I thought, really? That's what we think is devotee. Does he even know who I am? He said, Master's helping you. You need to know that. And I say to all of you, every day, if you give your day to God and Guru, just know the Guru's there, Master's there, Babaji's there, the Gurus are there. They're wanting to help us and uplift us in their light. I'll close with this quote from reading from the Raja Yoga book, from the introduction. It's just so beautiful about the tools of yoga. It says that the original yoga science emerges in all of its glory, a proven system for realizing our spiritual destiny. The practice of Raja Yoga awakens us to our deepest reality of oneness with the infinite. The key word here is practice. As a spiritual science, yoga is unique in that it encourages us to test the truth of its principles, not simply to believe. Using the many tools yoga gives us, we can determine firsthand whether it does in fact live up to its glorious promise. The proof comes in our growing experience of the love, joy, calmness, and courage of our soul's nature. Yoga is thus empowering. It gives us the teachings, the tools, and the validation of our own deepening experience of the divine to speed us on our inner journey to God. Om Shanti Shanti. God bless you all.